is to learn to ride and train like the Americans. Leeska's taken up residency here, as a matter of fact. And one of the biggest names in motocross, one of the highest paid of the factory riders, Jeff Ward, number 58, Mission Viejo, California, well known for his physical regimen and his training.
Small, compact body, a classic rider. But here's his arch rival, perhaps the greatest of them all. A lot of people say maybe the greatest natural talent, Rick Johnson. Unbelievable athlete, unbelievable rider, and a great attitude, too.
And 1 year ago here, Brock, at Carlsbad, Ricky Johnson put on a show of courage like none I've ever seen. Look in this circle on your screen. You see the number 1 rider? Well, watch the helmet just behind him. That is Rick Johnson. In one of the qualifying heats, he is down. He is hit by 1 rider. Then another. The punishment continues. A 3rd rider tries to miss Johnson, gets him with the side of the bike, scrapes the peg across his back. Here comes another assailant. This is the Frenchman Jacques Dumas, the World 500 champion, and he just broadsides Ricky Johnson. Ricky was done for the day, right? Wrong. Ricky Johnson came back to win overall in the 250cc pro class. It's a show, Brock, that I will never forget, and neither will any of the fans who saw it.
Well, Steve, the ability to withstand pain is a foregone conclusion in this kind of competition. Take, for example, Brock Glover, one of the other stars in this field. He broke his leg last year and is on the comeback trail.
In fact, he broke the femur bone in his leg very early last season. Hasn't been on a bike except for last weekend in nearly a year. Can he come back to the form he has exhibited over the past half dozen years as a pro for Yamaha? Here's the start of the 250 class. Any rider will tell you this start is so critical, and it's also mighty scary as they funnel down to that left-hand turner. Ooh, and we got a rider down right in front of our camera. That is number 65, Ron Turner, but he's not the only casualty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the riders down, but there's no injury. Everybody back up firing their bike.
Well, we got some heavy hitters in there. We got George Holland, one of the factory riders. He was down on a Honda, and Isho Ida on a Honda, a factory rider, was also down from Japan. So a couple of the serious players were involved in that little first turn tangle.
On the Mean Green Machine, that is Jeff Ward in the lead on the Kawasaki. And just behind Ward is number 911. That is the Yamaha support rider, 16-year-old Sean Kalos. Brock Glover got an excellent start. He is in the 3rd spot on the Yamaha. Rick Johnson is in 4th. That's the bike R1. In 5th spot, 11X, Rick Ryan on the Honda. Then comes Mickey Diamond 60 with the Yamaha.
There's your interval. There's Jeff Ward, and right behind him, Sean Kalos, Brock Glover, Rick Johnson, Rick Ryan, Mickey Diamond, all in there, just struggling for that 2nd spot.
Well, anytime Jeff Ward, Sean Kalos, Brock Glover, and Rick Johnson all get a good start and are in the top 4, you're going to have a battle on your hands. This could be classic motocross.
Oh, it's already starting out to be mighty wild as we watch a battle for 2nd place. Young Sean Kalos on 911, a Yamaha, and the veteran Brock Glover also on a Yamaha, and behind them, that number 1 R1, watch him, Rick Johnson.
Oh, and they call Rick Johnson the king of Carlsbad, Brock, for good reason. He'd really like to join that party up in front of the battle for 2nd, because Brock Glover was his mentor, his hero when he was going to high school and first started professional riding. They come from the same town, El Cajon, just a few miles south of here. It is Sean Kalos in the 2nd spot, the number 911 on his back, riding the Yamaha. In 3rd spot is 54 Brock Glover, also a Yamaha. And behind him, R1 Rick Johnson on the Honda. So Johnson is the highest placed Honda rider at the moment, Brock.
Well, Steve, it's interesting to see if young Sean Kalos can hold off these 2 veterans, these 2 killers that are riding right behind him. Kalos is just barely able to hold a driver's license, and right now he is holding off 2 of the finest motocross riders in the entire world, maybe in the history of the sport. As Johnson took a really hard shot at Brock Glover, but couldn't make it work. He got way out wide and almost got up beside Glover and then fell back a little bit.
They're starting down the Carlsbad Freeway. This is where talent and guts always services. Sean Kalos, the youngster, number 911. He is 2nd only to Jeff Ward. Behind him comes Brock Glover, then Ricky Johnson. He knows they're there. Glover closes up on the rear fender of that Yamaha, but can't get around him. Look at Johnson, the 3rd place rider in your picture on the Honda. All of them, Brock, have the throttle. Whoa! And Sean Kalos and Brock Glover come together, but it is Glover who survives.
He rode right through him. A beautiful move on the part of Brock Glover. Kalos faltered just a little bit, and now Johnson challenges him in that tight corner. Almost got through, but Kalos is being now bracketed by two of the finest riders ever. And Johnson challenges over the Devil's Drop. You notice Johnson didn't use much air there, Steve. He stayed right on the ground to keep that wheel running hard as he tries to get underneath the youngster. And Kalos bobbles a little bit, but still held Johnson off.
Well, I think Johnson backed up the throttle a little bit to keep from running into Sean and taking them both out. But there is Ricky Johnson on the inside, right alongside Sean Kalos. Could this be the pass? Not quite. Johnson goes to the outside, using that boot to keep him right side up. Oh, I tell you, Sean Kalos right now is going to school in motocross.
He's doing a super job. There he goes. Finally, Johnson works his way past him over the jump, but Sean Kalos held him off for over a lap, and the kid's got a lot to be proud of and a great future, no question about it. As Ricky Johnson now puts some daylight between himself and Sean Kalos, and in the meantime, Brock Glover has moved out a little bit into that second spot, so Johnson says goodbye to Kalos as we go into the race for fifth spot.
That's right. In fifth is Ron Lachine on the Kawasaki. Behind him, 60 is Mickey Diamond on the Yamaha. That's for the fifth spot. 43C, that's Eric Keogh. He's at the seventh spot on his Suzuki, followed by number 7, the Aussie Jeff Leask on the Honda. Leask is in the 8th spot. Well, everybody in this pack fighting just as hard as the top 3 or 4 are up front, because obviously you want to score as well as you can. This is a score very much like the minis. There's going to be 2 full motos. Maybe you got a bad start on this moto, you can make it up in the second moto and still, if not winning, get a very high finishing place. And actually, the point score for the pros is a little bit different than the minis. Here it's the high point wins. The winner receives as many points as there are bikes starting the moto. So a combination of the 2 motos, high point score, will be the champion here today. Mickey Diamond in the pink and white leathers on the number 6 Yamaha, still holding on to that 6th position. He just can't quite reel in number 53, Ron Lachine on the Kawasaki.
So the battle continues, but we'll be back at Carlsbad, California for more of the CMC Dodge Truck Golden State Nationals after this. Well, that is another view of San Diego Harbor, beautiful Mission Bay with sailboats and some more serious ships in there as well. San Diego being one of the major ports of the United States Pacific Fleet. And I can tell you from personal experience, having spent about 2 years on one of those big ladies, that there's a lot of serious business going on there in the Navy state.
There's a lot of serious business going on right now at Carlsbad Raceway, such as the battle for second place among the 250 pros, the CMC Dodge Truck Golden State Nationals. That is Brock Glover just up ahead of Ricky Johnson. Glover, number 54, the factory rider from Yamaha, on the comeback trail. Rick Johnson, no comeback here. He's been on top of this board for several years on the red Honda.
Interesting, though, you say, both from the same hometown, kind of the teacher and the student here. Still leading Glover on the comeback from a terrible break in that leg. That you wonder whether that's going to hold up for him, Steve. He's not been riding that competitively in that recuperation period, and now sitting in the second spot in this first moto for 250cc pro bikes.
Well, the pit talk is that Yamaha just flat said to Brock Glover, we think you're over the hill, you ought to retire, let us out of your contract. Glover said, give me a motorcycle. I'll prove you wrong. He's doing it right now.
Oh, he is. He's riding like the master that he is. Johnson seems to be able to catch him up a little bit in these tight corners, Steve, but then Brock pulls away on these straightaways. Whether or not that bike has got a little bit more power or whether he's just getting off the corners harder at this point, I don't know.
The old cliche, there's horses for courses. The leader, who is way out in front, Jeff Ward, will tell you that he can't stand this course. Now look at this. Here is Ricky Johnson, and he takes second place over Brock Glover, and now sits out in search of Jeff Ward, who will tell anybody that will listen that he hates the Carlsbad course. He doesn't like to go this fast. The sheer speed down the freeway. That's his least favorite part of the course. He likes a little shorter outdoor courses and the indoor stadiums. But as far as Ricky Johnson and Brock Glover are concerned, they love Carlsbad.
Well, here we've got a fabulous race for fourth. Now, 53 Ron Lachine on a Kawasaki has also passed Sean Kalos, and he has fallen back. Mickey Diamond and Yamaha and the 43 Suzuki rider Eric Keogh are all in there, but Kalos seems to be tiring a little bit, Steve, because some of the other riders are now catching him up.
Well, here we see 60. That is Ricky Diamond. He is a full Yamaha factory rider. He's trying to get around what's called a support rider. That is Sean Kalos, the youngster we've talked so much about, who we've seen over the last few years perform so well here at Carlsbad. Diamond really does not want to play second fiddle to a support rider, or he may be the support rider when we come back next year.
Well, Diamond is having troubles with him, really. He got upright next to him for a few feet there and a few corners, but now Diamond's falling back a little bit. In fact, Diamond is being challenged now by Eric Kehoe on the Suzuki. So Diamond not only falling back behind Kalos, but is going to have to fight off a challenge from Kehoe as well. Well, Mickey Diamond's got his hands full right now. But Diamond and Eric Kehoe by no means have decided that race for sixth place. You know, a lot of people think that motorcycle technology stays kind of stagnant, but each year there's a new breakthrough. Earlier, Steve had a chance to look at the new bikes from Yamaha.
Motocross bikes are so sophisticated already, the changes between model years usually are pretty subtle. In the case of Honda and their 250, the 88 bike has some lower components to get the center of gravity down lower for better control. The bike is a little bit narrower for more rider maneuverability. Yamaha has made the most dramatic changes in their 88 250. Now here is an 87. You'll see the conventional drum brake at the rear. Now take a look at a brand new 1988. Rejoice, Yamaha riders. They have finally gone to a hydraulic disc brake, the last of the Japanese manufacturers to do so. You'll also, if you're familiar with the older bikes, notice the spoke pattern is different. They don't cross in the Z pattern. They're right straight into the hub. They're a good deal stronger, and you're not going to puncture a tire with a broken spoke. Also, on the older bike, it was a gold anodized wheel. Well, Yamaha quit anodizing. It saves them money, but also these wheels are easier to maintain, so it works for buyer and seller. Now, the swing arm here on the 88 is 5 millimeters longer, but most important is really something you can't see. Inside the mono shop, it has been completely redesigned, and it works so well that they have been able to eliminate the old brake actuated suspension right here, okay, that used to release the dampening under braking to eliminate the wheel hop. Well, it didn't eliminate anything. The riders call it Yamaha. Well, it's gone with the 1988 model. Now, a tremendous redesign also in the front end. Instead of the former conventional dampening front forks, these are now cartridge forks. They work far better. The brake on the front, the disc brake, is a good deal broader. It's going to take more heat and more abuse. Now, there's an awful lot of other things that have changed on this bike, both externally and internally, and it all adds up to this, the riders tell me. Even though these two bikes weigh almost exactly the same, this bike feels about 50 pounds lighter, and that does a lot for a rider's confidence.
Speaking of confidence, I think factory rider Mickey Diamond could use a little of it. He has fallen back. Eric Kehoe has passed him for the sixth spot. And here is that battle between Ron Lachine and Sean Kalos that has been going on lap after lap. They've been exchanging places. Right now, Lachine has got the fourth place. But here comes the kid Kalos up that hill, and he gets inside Lachine and takes back fourth.
Well, that looked like a power pass by Sean Kalos, Brock. He appeared to have just a few more oats up the hill than did Ron Lachine. So Sean Kalos has retrieved his fourth place. And now it's Eric Kehoe who is looking at Ron Lachine. In fact, look at that. He's pretty hard right here.
He sure is. So he has moved up and passed him. So there is the 43, Eric Kehoe, who's making a big charge toward the front.
And as all these riders continue, Brock, to power around these cars with those knobby tires, they're moving dirt equivalent to a D8 Caterpillar. So the course complexion is always changing.
Right, and it'll get big, big ruts on it, as you can see right there where Eric Kehoe got the bike in the air in a rut, and it's very easy to go down when it happens to you like that. There go the riders over the Devil's Drop. Kalos has moved out a little bit now on the other two, as there goes Kehoe, and behind him is Diamond. And right now, the youngster Kalos has found himself some extra speed.
We're also starting to see around the course some berms being built, and Jeff Ward uses those to perfection. To use those berms to launch himself out of the corners and maintain that speed. Jeff Ward leads it. We'll be back to Carlsbad right after this. Stay with us. While we were away from Carlsbad, California, and the CMC Dodge Truck Golden State Nationals, Eric Keogh, number 43, the Suzuki rider, repassed number 911 Sean Kalos, the Yamaha star, to take over that fourth position. But as far as our leaders are concerned, there's no changes there. Jeff Ward is still out in front of the Kawasaki, followed by Rick Johnson on the Honda. Brock Glover, what a great afternoon for him on his Yamaha. Keogh, as we said, Suzuki, and Sean Kalos, Yamaha. That's your top 5 runners.
Really, I think the story here, though, Steve, has been Keogh. He fell way back at the start and then has kind of moved ahead. We saw him just move past both Kalos and Diamond, and there is Kalos trying to wipe some dirt clear of his goggles in that slow corner. But you can see that Keogh has moved way out in front of Kalos, and I would imagine that he's got his mind on catching Brock Glover, but I don't know whether that's possible.
All right, going on to the last lap is our leader and our second place runner, Jeff Ward and Rick Johnson, respectively. Now look at Johnson. He's the third man through your picture there. The first rider is about to be lapped. That is Dean Madsen. But here's Jeff Ward getting around Madsen completely. Madsen moved over. Ricky Johnson is closing it up. And I'll tell you, these are the 2 riders the fans come to see at Carlsbad. Look at Madsen. Very politely. He wants to watch this too. And right now he has got the best seat in the house is to hit up the hill and down the freeway.
Oh, this is going to be a finish. Johnson is pulling in. He's reeling in Jeff Ward right now down the freeway. You said that Jeff Ward may not be as comfortable here. Johnson loves it down through here. This is the fastest part of this course. Now they're hard on the brakes for that left-hander and back up the hill. Now wheel stand by Jeff Ward. Is he trying, do you think, Steve?
Oh, absolutely. This more than money, more than a trophy or a kiss from a pretty girl. This is Ricky Johnson he's trying to outrun right now.
There's Johnson almost up on his rear fender. This is going to be a race to the finish, guaranteed. Oh, Ward pulled out a little bit there. Johnson bobbled slightly, and Ward gets himself about a 5 or 6 bike lead.
And that may be all he needs. Jeff Ward is going to win moto number 1. Ricky Johnson in the second spot. Oh, boy. I'll tell you, the fans liked it. I liked it. Did you like it?
You bet. As we see the final standing, Ward, Johnson, Glover, Eric Keogh, Sean Kalos holds on to finish 5th. But this deal is far from over. We've got another moto to go. Jeff Ward has himself 41 points, but there'll be another event, and the total of those 2 will determine the final winner. All right, in victory lane, Steve Evans is with Jeff Ward.
Well, Jeff, from where we stood, it looked like a perfect race. What about from the seat?
Felt all right. My arms were a little tight. I was going a little bit squirrely, at the beginning, and then I loosened up and I was just running smooth, and then that lapper, the last lap, held me for about 4 corners and really got Ricky close, and but I loosened up a little bit at the end and felt all right.
The track is drying out. It's going to get even drier before the final moto. What do you tell your tuners to do to this bike? What do you recommend?
Now we're running a dry track tire right now, and the bike's perfect, so we'll run the same thing we ran this moto. Just be a little more careful on the corners, and hopefully I'm out front again.
See you then.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Brock Yates with second.
Well, Steve, Rick played a super job at catch-up, but we understand he had a little throttle problem. Is that right?
No, it's not my throttle. It's my grip on my clutch hand side. And it started spinning and getting loose, and I could only hang on with 2 fingers. I still couldn't hang on that tight, so I was afraid to charge anything really fast because I was afraid it might pop off.
You were struggling with Kalos first, and then Glover, and after you got by him, Jeff had gotten a pretty good lead on everybody. You just couldn't seem to make it up.
Yeah, I think I could have made it up if my grip wouldn't have slipped. I got right on his tail at the finish, and I think I would have had a better chance. I would have made that time up sooner if my grip wouldn't have been falling off. But he rode a good race. He got a good start. He was the first one across the finish line, and that's what everyone's going to remember.
Well, we got one more to go, so we'll see what happens then.
Yeah, I feel good about next moto. I feel my arms didn't pump up that bad. I got the bike working really good. The people at Honda did an excellent job, and I'm ready to race some more.
Good deal. We're looking forward to it. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
For sure. Okay, let's go to Steve with the 3rd place finisher.
Well, for a man who a lot of people said wouldn't even race this season due to injuries last year, Brock Glover, a 3rd place finish, it's got to feel pretty satisfying.
Yeah, I felt pretty good out there. I haven't been racing that speed for a long time, so, it's kind of hard, and my arms started pumping up right away. So it's just a matter of time before I can start racing with those guys, and, when I get up to their speed and things will start, I'll become more relaxed and not hold on so tight.
We heard